in Miami a couple of years ago, they did a raise of hands. It's like, is there anyone in the audience who owns Bitcoin? People raised hands.
And 2/3 were about owned a shitcoin.
Yeah, and they are Bitcoiners. So just because you have shitcoin, that is not an argument for why you should not be able to participate in the Bitcoin debate. You can be a Bitcoiner, and the reason that it is not the reason that we have to shitcoin is because Bitcoin gave walkover on drive chains.
No, you don't have to shitcoin. The reason you shitcoin is you choose to shitcoin. You don't have to. You choose to.
We are trying to enable the vision that the Blockstream company had back in 2014. And because Bitcoin chose not to go down that route, we are still...
But Bitcoin didn't choose anything. Blockstream chose not to. It's a bit like Amazon started out selling books and now has AWS and every other part of its business. Things change. Businesses have commercial pressures.
No, it was more than that. It wasn't just Blockstream. It was also the people who are most instrumental in defining Bitcoin consensus that no longer wanted to see drive chains happen on Bitcoin. And for that reason, we don't have smart contracts on Bitcoin. And now, because of that, this was the primary objective of not only Blockstream, but the entire, like when we used to say that Bitcoin is going to power all of the things that we're going to be able to do with altcoins, now we're not doing it anymore. So there are some other currencies like Ethereum that are doing that, and you are not an enemy of Bitcoin just because you're trying to do the thing that Bitcoin said it was going to do, just that you're doing it with another currency.
Eric, I think even if Bitcoin had done that, all these alternative currencies and layer ones would have existed anyway.
Yes, and then it would have been shitcoining, because if you could do that on Bitcoin, but you chose to do it with another currency, then you're shitcoining. But now, if you cannot do it with anything else, if you cannot do it with Bitcoin alone, and you choose to do it with another currency because you have to, then you're trying to do the things that we wanted to do with Bitcoin originally. So,
but the priorities change. There will be reasons people chose not to do this. There is the consensus layer, but you have social consensus. You have the pathway for things to be added to Bitcoin. And during that pathway or discussion of things, people would have said, we're not going to do that now, or we don't think we should do it. And they would have had their reasons. Their reasons might be contrary to yours. But to me, there are a group of Bitcoiners who are building Bitcoin for future generations, not for themselves, not for what was needed now. They're building it for future generations, for my son's children who don't even exist yet. They care about the end goal. Okay. And so for them in that end goal, it's like, we don't need to do that now. We've got to focus on this bit. Let's get this bit 100%. And that's fine. That's the way it is. And do you know what I say to that, Eric? Just deal with it. You are now in opposition to them. You know, I'm not saying you're right, they're right. I'm just saying you have a disagreement and now you're on the outside. So you're in a different group of people.
Let's play a little bit of a hardball, Peter.
Okay.
Let's look at what this hardcore Bitcoin maxi cult is actually successful at doing, and how
I wouldn't call it a cult.
Sorry, the Bitcoin.
Let's say this cohort of people.
The cohort of people. Okay, let's look at what they are actually successful at doing at the moment. So, from my point of view, this cohort, many of them are now migrating to Nostr.
Yep.
And they are doing Lightning payments.
Yep.
On custodial wallets.
Yes, I agree.
So, and at the same time, in Ethereum land, you have people trading NFTs. They're using MetaMask. MetaMask has some points of centralization because they're all connecting to the MetaMask node. But the actual keys are still held by the users themselves. Whereas in the custodial Lightning wallet use case, wallet of Satoshi can rug you. They can take all of your funds.
Of course.
Right. So this group of like decentralization maxis who hate shitcoiners is pouring all their Bitcoin that they want to use for tips, and they're sending it around in a completely custodial fashion, whereas the Ethereum people are actually using cryptocurrency in a non-custodial fashion.
Yeah.
So what is it? I mean, if Bitcoiners were like anti-centralization, why are they the ones that are currently interacting with Bitcoin in a completely custodial fashion? And this is a thing that I've been trying to say for years, that when you are so hell-bent on decentralization that you cannot consider a drive chain, for example, because you think that drive chains are actually a block size increase for miners. It forces you into this particular way of interacting with the system, which is Lightning. That's the thing that we've focused all our, we put all our eggs in this one Lightning basket that not even the hardcore Bitcoin maximalists themselves can figure out. Well, maybe they can't figure it out, but to the extent that they interact with it, they do it in a custodial fashion. And so some people will say, no, on Nostr, I'm dealing with tips, like it's small amounts. I'm not so worried that I'm going to get hacked because it's just tips, right? I can tell you why that argument is not true. If you have a decentralized Lightning wallet that you like to use, you're not going to go and install a custodial wallet and use that one specifically for Nostr if you had a decentralized Lightning wallet.
Can I just ask a couple of questions? MetaMask, is that layer 2 or layer 1?
It works for all the layers. It's just a wallet, and it can connect to rollups. It can connect to main chain. It can connect to any EVM based chain.
Okay, so it can be any. Okay, because I don't use MetaMask and I don't use Ethereum, so I don't understand it. My expectation, and we're well out of my wheelhouse here, is that non-custodial Lightning at the moment is hard. And the only reason I know it's hard is when I was at a conference selling Rail Bedford merch, somebody wanted to pay with Lightning and they wanted to use their non-custodial wallet and had to connect to their node. It was painful. So my expectation is that in the world of non-custodial Lightning wallets, we're at the stage where it's hard to build and we're just not there yet. I don't know what non-custodial wallets exist. I don't know if Moon is or Phoenix. Well, I don't know any of these wallets. Do you know? Is Phoenix?
Phoenix is, I think, yeah.
Non-custodial. So I think work's being done there, but this comes back to the point is that I'm in this world now with Bitcoin, whereas I'm fine with the long, waiting. I'm fine with the long term. It's the Ethereum tends to be that build fast, break things kind of thing, and we've seen a lot of things being broken. I'm really long-term patient with Bitcoin. I don't need Lightning right now. I need Lightning to work decades ahead for the future. So I'm very patient with that, and I'm okay with that. Do I have a wallet for Satoshi? Well, I did because I got it when I got Nostra, and I have $50 on there. Did I have a blue wallet? Yes, I did. Never really had more than... Actually, at one point I did through a bull run. I started off with $300 and it became $3,000 because of that. But I'm patient for this stuff. And I trust the people who on the devs... I'm not a dev. I don't understand this technical shit. So I just trust those people. They're going to go and build it. And I'm in this place now where I've got my Bitcoin security set up in a way that I can do it as a non-technical person. And I feel very secure that my Bitcoin will not get hacked or stolen. Very secure in that. So I'm okay with this. I just think you have a different timescale, a different perspective. And it's valid to criticize this. What you're saying is valid. It's valid for you to raise this. But what you've picked is one thread where you're critical of Bitcoiners and Bitcoin development. There are multiple threads you could do that. There's multiple threads on Ethereum we could pick to criticize. So that's just the way it is. They're two competing visions of a blockchain, of a L1. It's just two competing visions.
Look, if the current reality is that people try so hard with decentralization in Bitcoin that not even the hardcore Bitcoin maximalists can be bothered with using it because it incurs such harsh mental overhead when you're trying to interact with those systems, that the net effect is that more of them use custodial systems for the user experiences advantages, that is a failure. And if what I'm trying to say is that, hey, well, if we only focus on Lightning and using Lightning in a decentralized way is clunky and it's going to lead to people to use it custodially, maybe it isn't all that bad if we try like dry chains or something.
Then try it. Paul Stork's trying it.
He's been trying it for 8 years now.
Okay.
He's not getting anywhere. He is not getting anywhere. That thing is dead. That thing is dead. And it's dead because the cohort of Bitcoiners that have the most control over the consensus debate has sort of blocked that path.
Why are they blocking it? Why do you think they're blocking it?
Because they don't think that it's decentralized enough.
Okay, so that's the marketplace for ideas.
Yeah, but the decentralized option that they chose led 95% of Nostr users to use custodial Lightning wallets. And people, when they have a working Lightning wallet, they're going to stick to using that. They're not going to be like, oh, now I'm actually at the point where I'm going to go and migrate to a less centralized wallet. That's not how humans operate. If you give them a wallet that works, they're going to use that.
I don't think that's entirely true. I think people will change. People change wallets. I went from a single ledger to a multi-sig.
Okay,
so
do you switch browsers when you're on your computer and you're like, oh, I wanna actually here when I'm visiting this website, I actually want to use a little bit more privacy-focused browser, or do you just use Chrome and you hope that you won't get into trouble?
So I do switch, but I just don't think the analogy works. I moved to Brave, and then Brave became unusable at times, and then I've gone back to Chrome sometimes. I think people do change, but I think I'm coming back to what is it you want? Do you want to be right, or do you want to have things change? Because look, sometimes it's not whether you're right; it's how you navigate it. How you communicate things. Like sometimes you have to do a sales job, a BIP. Anyone who puts forward a BIP, they have to do a sales job. They have to sell that to the community. They have to sell it to people that this is a right thing for Bitcoin. And so it just brings about, what is it you want, Eric?
Yeah, no, at this point, me writing what I want to do at this point is that I want to harmonize the Bitcoin discussion climate a little bit. I want people to understand that the direction that we've been going with Lightning is unfortunately, after many, many years now, like I ran one of the first Lightning nodes. I was extremely optimistic about Lightning when it came out. I ran one of the first 500 Lightning nodes. And I was a very strong believer. But the trends that I'm seeing, all the trends that I'm seeing is I'm seeing people head more and more into custodial wallets. So
can it be fixed on Lightning?
The annoying thing with Lightning is that every time that you're trying to fix a problem, another problem pops up in another area. So it's like a balloon, and you're trying to squeeze the air at one part, and it becomes a bigger problem at another end. That's sort of the design dynamic that you're struggling with Lightning, and you can ask any Lightning developer that's sort of actually is the case. That it's not just like we're cutting off pieces of the problem, we're causing more problems every time it's like the heads of a hydra. So I'm not super optimistic, and I think that it's time to, so let me put it this way. Let's say that it's not time. Let's say that actually let's just let Bitcoin be the way that it is. And I'm fine with that also, by the way, just to make it clear. I think that there is a place in the world for a super conservative currency that is Bitcoin, and I think that there's going to be appreciation for that solid, maximally aspiring towards decentralization type of currency in the world. There's room for that. But if you go down that route, you are opening the doors for something like Ethereum to exist. And if you are a Bitcoiner, which I am, then you shouldn't have so much struggle being a participant in the Bitcoin debate just because you've been forced to entertain this other currency.
Yeah, but again, it's the way you navigate these groups. If you are vitriolic in your criticism of people, if you are trolling, whether you're right or wrong, you can put people off. It just again, it come back to you've got, to me, it doesn't you don't have a fact problem, you have a marketing problem.
I feel like I have to do it because I feel like I want to give the Bitcoin community overall a better perception from the outside world. And the way that I do that is by limiting the adoration for people who say absolutely insane things, like Michael Saylor does, and like Seyfedin Ammous does. I still want them to exist. I still want them to be able to say what they do. I just want to inform other people in the Bitcoin world that, okay, these people do tend to say some pretty crazy things. Let's like appreciate them for the good things that they say, but let's not make them goddesses. let's not make them gods. Let's not make them be the high priest. Let's just level the playing field a little bit and allow voices that aren't as crazy with the things that they say to also come up to the surface to sort of harmonize the discussion climate.